Welcome, everybody. This is premiere show of Your Pet Detective. I am Ardina Seward, and the main man is that guy over there that you're looking at, Angel Nieves. And Angel, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm Angel Nieves. I'm a retired NYPD detective, and now I'm a private investigator. But my main investigation is on pets, so I'm your pet detective.
Okay, so we were talking before we started the show about people who keep their pets outside in the cold weather. The storm coming in, it's going to be cold. People are going to send Fido out to the backyard to hang out for a while. Is that a good idea, a bad idea, or what's the deal with that?
It's a terrible idea. I mean, just think about it. Our pets now are domestic. They're not wildlife, so they don't go outside and they don't stay out there. And the coat is different. It's not thick because it's mainly in the home. So now you take the pet and leave it outside for amount of time, especially in the cold. If it's like in the 20s or maybe in 30s, your pet will, just like us, will freeze. The blood circulation, everything doesn't work, and they could actually die out there, freezes to death. I mean, especially short-haired dogs. If you have like a pit bull, I mean, pit bulls, they freeze over everything. Chihuahuas, they need a coat on top of that. I mean, think about it. I see people walking with dogs. I see them walk with the dogs outside with a leash, and they're all bundled up, freezing, and the dog is walking naked. I mean, not even with the booties on or anything. And the dog actually wants to, you know, they're freezing. You see the leg, the tail under the legs and everything. You have to think. If you're cold, they're colder because you have clothes on. You have to put coats on them. If you go out, you can't definitely not leave them outside alone for so many hours. I mean, if you see a bowl of water out there and it's frozen, imagine them.
But
So,
people are going to say, okay, supposing you have a husky or a dog that's meant to be outside, that's built for the cold.
well, they're not built for the cold. They're domestic animals. The hair, they shed. And when it sheds, it goes with the winter climate. If you have your dog in a house, it's not the same no more. Like a wolf, you see the difference of the thickness of the hair. So it's a big difference of domestic animals and wildlife animals. The rabbits, for example, the hare, the ones you see out there, the jackrabbit, or whatever you want to call them, the thick hair is different than at the house.
We've talked about dogs now. What about cats? You know, there are a lot of people who feed feral cats. And some feral cats can be brought inside, some feral cats can't be brought inside.
I believe somebody's reaching out to us.
Okay, let's see. What do we got? Waiting room. Yes. I only have a message of one in the waiting room.
Right.
Okay, join. So there's just, I only have, oh, wait a second. It's Catherine. Yeah, got it. Okay.
All right.
All right, Catherine, you have Catherine. I just admitted Catherine. And there she is. We have a photo of Catherine. Catherine, are you there?
Yeah. Can you see me?
Fantastic. Yeah, there you are. Welcome, Catherine. Welcome to the show. We have.
Hi.
How are you?
I see her now. Hi, Catherine.
We were talking.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay, we're on a time crunch here because I have 40 minutes for this, and may have to log out in 15 minutes or so, but I'm glad to have you on. We were talking about keeping pets outside in the cold. Is that a good idea? Is it a bad idea? What are the pros and cons for that?
So most pets are not acclimated for the type of cold. And I think people have the misconception because they're animals and they have fur that they can tolerate the cold. even when you're doing transportation, say you're flying to LA with your pet, the airlines even have restrictions on ground temperature and humidity to allow a pet to fly or not fly. So it's pretty common knowledge, at least in the transportation and the medical world, that acclimating an animal to a certain climate is important, especially if you're transporting an animal from someplace like New Orleans to someplace cold like Maine. There's even, for horses, there's an acclimation time and when they need to get used to certain either temperatures, hot or cold. So it is a misnomer that animals can tolerate cold just because they have fur. It's not that simple, and that's not really how their body and mechanisms work. One, the type of fur that they will grow in a climatized indoor environment is very different than what they would grow if they were able to transition from summer to winter in the wild. Two, most of our pets have been domesticated and bred down and diluted so far from their evolutionary counterparts, their wild wolf counterparts, they're not even capable of developing the right kind of fur. So unless you have an Akita or a Husky or some animal that has that third layer of undercoat, they're really not built to be outdoor in temperatures below 32 degrees or that freezing. And even a lot of times not even that cold. I think the airlines cut them off at 40.
What about feral cats? Should people attempt to, feral cats are problematic in the wintertime because they live outside, they're born outside. Should people attempt to trap them and bring them into an indoor environment?
I don't know that that's reasonable, but there are rescue groups or conscientious Good Samaritans that will go out and build little shelter huts to protect them from cold environment. And that's reasonable, right? So they have these little igloo-like shelters that are made out of, acrylic or whatever is man-made nowadays, and then you can put hay in it to provide some insulation, one, to get them up off the frozen terrain, and two, to protect them from wind chill and any precipitation, whether it's snow or rain. Some feral cats will find little spots. You'll find them curled up in like air ducts or vents where hot dryer air blows out. Some will crawl into the engine shafts because they're still warm. And that's why a lot of people will tell you bang on the hood of your car before you turn it on, because if they're still sitting there and you turn the car on, a lot of times they get killed or hurt by the fan. So they find places that are warm to sleep in, but even there are temperatures that are too cold for feral cats. The stress of bringing a truly feral animal into an indoor environment where they feel trapped is probably not safe for humans, not knowing what their vaccine status is and their rabies status, much less lepto and some other things that may be an issue in feral cats. And then also, if they have animals, there's some disease that can be spread to their animals. So I don't know that I would suggest that, but you definitely can put out little shelters for them, offer them some extra food so that they have the energy and the resources to build up the fat that really is what insulates them more than their fur. And that's another misnomer. Even in horses, yes, they grow a long coat, but that's not really what insulates them. It's that layer of fat, and that takes time, energy, and food to develop. So that's part of the acclimation, is giving them the nutrients and the resources so they can build up the insulating fat.
So it's not a good idea for people to let their cats sort of wander in and outdoors. I mean, some people have cats. I've been guilty of it, and I don't know if it was a good thing, but I had a feral cat, brought it in from a baby, but he always wanted to go outside. So I figured, don't fight the cat. Cat wants to go outside, let him go outside and he'll know when to come in. Was that a smart idea or was it a bad idea?
Well, we were actually talking about this at work today. And yeah, I mean, I'm 47. So I grew up back in the generation where you had cats went outside. That was the acceptable practice. I think our first cat got hit by a car and we never let another one outside. And then it does also kind of depend on where you're located. The way sorry, my dog is not happy that he's outside. he's not up underneath my feet. So, and it's also, where you're located, there's farm animals. It's a little different with them living on a farm and going indoor, outdoor. You still have to worry about predation. I'm not a big component of indoor, outdoor cats. For one, they're the #1 killer of songbirds. Domesticated cats, especially ones that are well fed, tend to kill for the sake of killing and not for the sake of eating. So they predate a lot. And they have a huge, oops, sorry, are you still there?
Yeah.
They have a huge, huge impact on our wildlife, small rodents, even chipmunks. The rodents aren't just mice and rats that everybody doesn't like. It's also chipmunks, little moles, things that are pretty important for our ecosystem, but then also our songbirds.
Angel, we're talking about letting animals outdoors, and you are the pet detective. So let's say that your cat, you let your cat outdoors, and then your cat says, I don't think I'm going to come home for a couple of weeks. Now your cat is lost. What do you do?
Well, your cat is not lost. Your cat is adventurous, something new, something to conquer. They became like Christopher Columbus. So they go out there and they see whatever's around. But they're also smart because what they do is, if sometimes they have 2 homes, they go one in the daytime and then you at the nighttime. So they feed in one place and they feed in the other. Okay. So, I mean, to know exactly what your cat is doing, you should actually put a camera on them and see what they do. But the good thing is, the bad thing is leave them outside. What you should do is leave them in the house and give them something not to get bored. They have something to play with. Okay. Something that they could stay inside, something to watch. Or some people, what they do is, now we're going off the thing, is probably put a cage and a window open and let them go out that way and come back. They don't keep on going.
That works if you have, it works, that's a good idea, but that only works, I think, depending on what your living situation is. Because some people might not even have windows where they can actually put that cage. I know the one that you're talking about. But let's say if your cat is lost, what's the first thing that you do? I mean, where do you look? What do you do?
Well, I had a case in New York City, in Manhattan, in Riverside. Okay, so bigger than that you could think of. Would that cat ever find that cat? The answer is yes. The person, I'm the last person they call. So what they do is, like a week later or 2 weeks later, they call me. Say, listen, I did everything. I put flyers. I was walking all over Riverside calling my cat and everything. I don't find my cat. I said, well, how about you do this? Stay at home around 5, 6 o'clock. Leave the window a little bit open and listen. So what? I said, you have to listen. You hear the little meow. The cat is coming back. The cat is hungry. Everybody thought it was crazy. The guy said, okay, I'll try it. He'll try anything, right? He called me back the next day. Actually, I called him. And he told me, I got the cat. I said, what happened? He says, well, I listened out the window and I heard the meow and I saw the cat outside looking up. But he was like on the first floor. He opened the door. The cat came in. That's it. The cat's home.
Well, and I can also share a story where Angel helped me find my cat. My ex-husband, the wonderful genius that he is, decided to take my cat to the beach. And as soon as we get out of the car, the cat freaks out and runs. And we were away from home. First person I called was Angel. I was like, how do I find my cat? And he explained to me, one, he's outside his territory. So he's going to hide until it's dusk or dark and nobody's around. The other thing that they're going to do is they're not going to just take the straightest path home, because they're not going to go through other cat territories. So he's going to zigzag and wonk and wane until he's going around cat territories until he finds his way home. So he suggested that I wait till late at night when everything was quiet, go back where he was and start calling his name. It was about 11 o'clock at night by the time the concert and everybody left the vicinity. And I went back out there and I called his name and he answered, and he was still in those woods, probably waiting for the same thing. And I was able to get him back.
Wow.
But
Well,
before we go on, I want Captain to introduce herself.
Oh yeah, sorry, I kind of jumped right in.
I know the way you are. That's why I let you go, because you're like that. I mean, I love her because she's a huge animal. Not only she's a doctor, but she also go out her way and save animals too. She does everything. Go ahead.
So I am a veterinarian. I'm Dr. Catherine Love. I actually specialize in pachyderms, so elephant, rhinos, tapirs, and hippos. After getting married and having children, I kind of settled into my second love, which is emergency medicine and critical care. So that's what I've been doing and been focused on. So nobody wants to come see me because it usually means you have urgent pet needs, but we're there in the most critical times and hopefully get them back home healthy and happy. That's the short version.
oh, that sounds wonderful. And I think with that, we are approaching our 40-minute window. So I'm gonna start phasing out the show, phasing out our time. You've been great. Catherine, you're a welcome guest. We want to have you back again. And that, folks, is Your Pet Detective. There'll be more shows coming up. Angel has a website. We're gonna post this on YouTube. We're gonna post this on Angel's website. So look forward for the show. Tell all your friends. If you have questions, send them in to Angel's website. Angel, tell them your information. Where can they contact you?
It's nice and simple. YourPetDetective.com. I mean, YourPetDetective.com. I'm sorry. YourPetDetective.com.
YourPetDetective.com. You heard it. Watch for us on YouTube. Watch for us on Facebook. Watch for us all over the world. Thanks, folks, for tuning in.
And share.
And share. She wasn't she a popular rock star? I'm just kidding. All right. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thank you.
We are saying
Thank you.
goodbye.